And today is also the first day of the official filing of candidacies for the 2025 midterm elections. The Commission on Elections is expected to have its hands full. As Comelec is instituting changes in the electoral process, we go back in time to find out the changes that Comelec went through the years as election 2025 officially begins. To give us a live update in the Commission on Elections, we have with us at Manila Hotel, Agatha Gregorio. Hello, Agatha.
Karen, aspirants for the 2025 national and local elections can now file their certificates of candidacy. As you said, we're here now at the Manila Hotel, where candidates for positions of senator and party list representative will be filing their COCs. And due to Super Typhoon Julian, hopefuls may see rains as they head here, as we did earlier this morning. Meanwhile, those gunning for local positions and roles as congressional representatives will be heading to regional and local election offices. That would include hopefuls in the parliamentary elections for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. We're expecting the Bayan Muna party list led by former Congressman Nery Colmenares and Senator Francis Tolentino to file their COCs today. The COC filing is open from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. Karen?
Agatha, have you seen any aspirants filing their certificates of candidacy?
Karen, yes, actually, we have seen some representatives here. That would include Representative Wilbert Lee, along with other members of the Agri party list here at the Manila Hotel to file their certificates of candidacy. We also saw some representatives from the Ako OFW party list. Karen?
What about candidates for senators? Have you seen any other candidates that are there that have not yet filed but are ready to file their candidacies? Yes. Hi, Agatha. Did you hear me? For other positions like senators and basically if they have not yet filed, do you see any candidates there that are present in terms of filing their candidacies? I think Agatha is having difficulty hearing us, but we'll go back to Agatha at Manila Hotel. For now, we'll have to take a short break.
What is your biggest mistake?
My greatest beefsteak.
I wanted to do that before I aura.
Aura.
We shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, the titans of industry.
I'm going to eat healthy. It's expensive. Guess what's more expensive? The hospital.
We're not just talking about success stories here. We're diving deep into their hearts and minds to see what drives them.
Ibalik mo ako.
Let's go.
Naiikot ako.
We are live. We are
Industry Beat on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. We are giving spotlight with these innovative business enterprises that shares growth in our community. We're giving these entrepreneurs a chance to boost their business in the market. Let's join Mai Rodriguez together with different entrepreneurs to know their stories and challenges.
Remember, the road to success is never a straight line.
Pathways to Success, 11 a.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. Your safety is on top of everything. Here are some important numbers in times of emergency. Public service reminder from Billionario News Channel. Always on top. Beauty, health, adventure. This is for you.
Ultimate mind and body experience.
Join Marie Lozano where she uncovers the untold stories and unexpected surprises in the world of lifestyle.
The idea was to give viewers a behind-the-scenes look at how things work and if it's worth the hype. Yeah!
The Lifestyle Lab, Saturday on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Let's take a look at today's headline.
Get to know the latest weather update and forecast with information to help us understand important aspects regarding our climate.
You're leading the charge of combating climate change, and you finally experienced it.
More weather updates and stories about the environment, climate change, and disaster preparedness, where we'll stay together whatever the weather.
Weather HQ with Paulo Del Rosario, 9 a.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Welcome back at the forefront. And now we have former Governor Chavit Singson on the phone, and he's an aspiring senator. Governor Chavit, good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hi.
Yes, Karen.
Manong Chavit, are you still going to pursue your plans to file for senator?
Yes, confirmed.
And when do you plan to file your certificate of candidacy?
Yes, very soon. I'm just waiting for a good date, but definitely I'll be filing my candidacy for the Senate.
Will you be running under any political party, or are you going to be independent?
Independent, because both leaders are my friend. President Duterte, and I supported BBM when he became the president. So I decided to run as an independent candidate.
Manong Chavit, have you spoken to Senator Amy Marcos? She also pulled out of the administration slate and said that she prefers to run independent.
I read it in the papers because I just arrived from Kyrgyzstan in Russia last night.
Okay, so will you consider talking to Senator Amy Marcos as someone who is also a fellow Ilocano and also someone who's running independent?
Not yet, not yet.
Why
but
are
if
you...
ever,
yes.
Yes.
So go ahead, sorry.
Yes. So if ever I meet her, I'll talk to her. Why he decided also to be an independent candidate.
Manong Chavit, why are you going to run for Senate?
I don't have any plan at all. I was delayed in deciding because I'm now providing all the electric vehicles all over the country. Electric Jeep. I copied the Jeep, but it should be 22-seater 6 standings, so total of 28 passengers, and aircon, and all the tricycles all over the country, and motorcycles, without any down payment, 0 interest, and the cheapest. Because I asked them first, the transport group, according to their specification, you check first which is the cheapest, because I don't want to make money on this. I want only to help the drivers. So they went around China, Korea, the Philippines. They came out, the cheapest was $2,400,000. Then I told them that this is not my business. I just want to help the drivers. I gave it to them one half, $1,200,000. That's the cheapest. And quality. And my factory will be here in the Philippines to maintain them.
Manu Chavit,
they were the one who encouraged me. Plus, I was the governor, president of the Governors League of the Philippines, president of the Mayors League of the Philippines, president of the Councilors League of the Philippines. They all encouraged me to run for the Senate this year. So I decided already to run.
Okay. And it seems like you were successful in doing this for people in the Philippines without a public position. Why decide to run for a public position?
I did not, as I have said, I don't have any plan at all. Because in the last election, I didn't run anymore to go out with President Marcos all the way from the very beginning up to the end. So being the president of the Mayors League, I led him, scheduled all the regional mayors first. But it was COVID. It's not allowed to have a big meeting. But I was able to talk to the Department of Health to allow me to have a small meeting. All regional mayors in every region. That's why he became popular. And then if Sarah will file, you have to write down. You'll be protected because his ambition is only to be a vice president. Mm-hmm. So something happened, went wrong. Sarah decided not to run. So and then Sarah decided to run for vice president. So okay. I told Bongbong, you're not the president before the election.
Okay. Thank you so much, Manong Chavit, and good luck with the filing of your certificate of candidacy for the Senate.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this interview. I'll try my best.
Okay, thank you.
And it will be different because ever since I was in politics, I'm used to serving. I don't want to be served. I want to serve. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you. We appreciate your time, Manong Chavit. And joining us at the forefront live is former Commissioner Gus Lagman.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Karen.
Comelec Commissioner Gus.
Not anymore.
Yes, former Comelec Commissioner Gus. Yeah. Thank you for your time here. So now the 2025 elections have officially started with the filing of the certificate of candidacies. In the past, normally what is the most popular day for filing the certificate of candidacies? Is it usually on the first day or on the last day?
I would imagine the first day there would be a lot of people, candidates who would file. But some of them will wait for the last day for some reason or another, I guess. Yeah.
And what about any days that you think are considered lucky, like October 8th, for example?
That's also another possibility. They might have their favorite numbers, and so they will wait for that particular date to file their candidacy. Yeah.
So for a lot of people, in order for them to understand the role of the Comelec, perhaps we can break down what does it mean when they say that the Comelec has quasi-judicial and quasi-legislative functions?
Well, What's the first one that you said?
It's a quasi-judicial. I think this goes into deciding cases filed before the Comelec.
Yes. They decide on protests. They decide on, well, mostly protests, which happen after the elections. And that can go on, and sometimes these protest cases will last until the next election, and it becomes smooth and academic for some cases. Yeah.
And in the past, there are several cases that are filed as a protest, but by the time they are decided, the term is finished.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Do you think there should be changes in the process of contesting or filing a protest for positions?
Well, I don't know how they can speed up these cases, but I have only sat a few times when I was there, and usually one of the things that delay these cases are the postponements. I would always hear a motion from one of the parties to postpone the hearing because of this and that, because they need some information that they didn't have at that time. So I think it can be done in a more speedy manner if they consciously try and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about the quasi-legislative functions? Does this pertain to guidelines or rules that the Comelec issues?
That's true. The Comelec will sometimes pass resolutions on certain issues. I can't remember what. I have participated in some of them, but I can't remember one right now. But there are the election laws, but the laws will not cover everything, not all the cases. So when a certain issue comes up, then the commissioners will make a decision, and they have done so many times. Yeah.
And Commissioner Gus, the Comelec is one of those few bodies that is constitutionally appointed.
It is,
It's part of the Constitution, and therefore, its officers, commissioners, the chairman can only be removed by impeachment. And why is this important? That it's the only other bodies that enjoy that type of protection would be the president and also Supreme Court justices, where they can only be removed by impeachment.
That's right. Well, it has to be independent of the other agencies in the government, because otherwise, a partisan agency might put them to task or might move for the removal of a certain commissioner. And that should not be, because the commission should only be accountable to the people.
And what about the requirement that commissioners can only be lawyers that have practiced for at least 10 years?
Well, I'm not a lawyer. I'm an engineer.
Okay.
But they allow one out of the seven, out of the seven, 4 must be lawyers. But the other 3 need not be lawyers. And that's how I became a commissioner.
So in that case, if you have a division, usually it's these cases of the Comelec are first decided by a division.
Correct.
So that would be 3, or how many? You have 7 commissioners total.
Yes, there are several divisions.
Do they make it a point to have if you say that there are 3 that are allowed to be non-lawyers, do they make it a point that there are at least 1 or 2 who are lawyers in that division?
Yes, they would do that. Plus, every commissioner would have several lawyers in his staff. if I recall correctly, I had 6 lawyers under me. So before I go to any of the unbanked sessions, I would discuss the agenda with my 6 lawyers because I'm not a lawyer, I'm an engineer.
Commissioner Gus, there seems to have been a rule in the past where any person who has formerly served an elected position would not be qualified to be appointed as a commissioner.
I can't remember if there is such a law, but yes, possibly that would probably be the case.
But in the prior years, we've already had some people like Commissioner Guanzon, and Padaka as well, who used to be elected officials.
Yeah.
So why was there a change in the requirements?
Is that before or after being a commissioner?
It was before the requirement.
Well, actually, if you're a politician, a party person, before your appointment, then you'll be making decisions on cases that might be brought up by these parties, no? So even if the law is more lax, out of it would be probably more ethical if you don't join the commission if you're very much a party person.
Mm-hmm. During your time as commissioner in the Comelec, what was one of the biggest controversies that the Comelec had to face?
During my time?
During your time.
I only stayed there for 13 months.
Oh, okay, but that's still long enough. Did you, at that time, have to serve under any election?
Well, no. Fortunately or unfortunately, I never experienced having an election during the time that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a non-election year.
Non-election year, but I suppose that you were confronted with some cases that related to...
The previous.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Like a disqualification case or maybe some election fraud. Did you ever sit in any division to decide cases?
I think I have sat in judgment of those particular issues. But I can't remember those issues anymore. That was a long time ago. That was 2011.
Well, now as a former Comelec Commissioner, I'm sure you get to see the different types of controversies that have hounded and continue to hound the Comelec. Just this last August, there was an article on some House of Representatives saying that if the Comelec continues to be hounded by controversies, that the Philippines might go back to manual elections. Do you ever see that happening?
Well, in my case, I've been in favor of a hybrid election system. I have always maintained that the precinct counting should be manual so that the people could see how their votes were counted. What we have is that after you fill up your ballot, you feed it to that machine, and then you don't get to see the counting. At 7 o'clock in the evening, they just announce the votes garnered by each of the candidates. And what I have always been advocating for is that precinct counting should be manual, transmission should be electronic, and canvassing should be automated. So that will still be very fast because the counting at the precinct level will only take a day anyway, at most. It can be as short as 5 or 8 hours.
And you are not worried that there would be a lot of cheating because of the manual counting?
Whatever cheating might happen would be retail. But when it's automated like it is today, it can be wholesale cheating. The software could have been rigged. as maybe in the last elections that could have happened. You remember that in NCR and Cavite, I think, they were passing through only one IP address. How can that happen when each precinct should have a separate IP address and each precinct should submit their results separate from the others? How come there was only one IP address?
But there were independent groups like PPCRV and those that conduct NAMFREL, they conduct random checks wherein they don't announce but they go to a precinct and then they compare the shaded ballots as against that Platos reported in terms of total by the vote counting machines.
The random manual audit happens after the elections.
Yes, but apparently the accuracy has been, I think, practically 100%, except for some discrepancies wherein there's some vagueness as to how the machine would read if there are double shades or too lightly shaded, like if there's an error in shading. So would you say that, that kind of shows that the automated
it's probably not sufficient.
Works.
You see, they picked 757 precincts out of, how many were there? 107,000 precincts during the last elections. They picked 757. If it so happens that even the picking of the 757 was rigged or was fixed, then there you go. I don't think, I don't remember that being selected randomly. I can't remember. I think Comelec was the one selecting it. And then they just announced that these are the precincts that we're going to open. So.
But now we have a new provider, and do you think that there can be some improvements? I think we previously had the Comelec chairperson, Greg Garcia, here at the forefront, and he said that they're confident that this new system would be faster.
Well, they said the same thing before, but it's important that elections are, number one, accurate. Second, it has to be transparent. That's even in the law. That's in the title of the law, that the election must be transparent. If the counting is not done at the precinct level manually, if it's automated, then you don't get to see how it was counted, and it's not transparent. When it's mentioned at least twice in the law, in the title and in section 1, that the election system must be transparent. And our elections since 2010 have not been transparent.
And the Comelec is often alleged as being pro-administration during midterm elections. But this doesn't seem to be a common accusation when it's presidential elections. Would you know what accounts for that difference? But before you answer that question, we'll have to take a short break. At the forefront, we'll be right back.
心啦，咁就同埋啲屋企朋友一齊即係星期五嘅下午可以過嚟感受下即係葡萄牙嘅氣氛啦，可以試到啲唔同特色嘅美食啦。咁就算即係唔使離開香港，喺翻中環呢個鬧市都可以感受到唔同國家嘅美食啦，同埋嘅文化啦。
The idea of the festival basically is to bring a bit of culture, tradition that we have in Portugal to Hong Kong, letting the locals and expats experience what it's like to actually live a festival like this, what we normally do traditionally every summer.
is The Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Rojas.
Get ready. Be prepared. Get to the latest stories, updates, and reports about what's happening in the world of sports. Hosted by Anton Rojas.
Where sports is our business and business is our sport.
The Scorecard, 10 p.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
What is your biggest mistake?
My greatest beefsteak. I wanted to do that before I aura.
Aura.
Yeah.
We shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, the titans of industry.
I'm going to eat healthy. It's expensive. Guess what's more expensive? The hospital.
We're not just talking about success stories here. We're diving deep into their hearts and minds to see what drives them.
Let's go.
Hello po.
We are
Industry Beat on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Welcome back at the forefront. And we still have with us former Comelec Commissioner Gus Lagman. Commissioner Gus, we were discussing earlier. Okay, Gus.
You can do
yes,
the commissioner.
okay. Just wanted to pay my respects. So,
No.
Usually there is an allegation that the Comelec is pro-administration in the midterm elections. But this is not as much of a common allegation when it's the presidential elections. Do you know what accounts for the difference?
Well, during midterm elections, there is a sitting president. And so naturally, he would want those who would be elected to be from his party. On the other hand, during presidential elections, they themselves are candidates. So he's not, well, he may still be a sitting president, but he would be busy campaigning himself instead of attending to, to the other candidates. No? So there would be a big difference between the two.
And in terms of the term of each of the commissioners, by law, it's 7 years per commissioner.
7 years.
And that's fixed.
Yes.
And so,
unless you're serving the
remaining term
of a particular commissioner.
Is that what happened with you? That's why you only had 13 months?
In my case, from what I heard, the Senate President then said, as part of, leveraging in certain issues, that I should be removed. So I was removed. No, not removed. I was not confirmed.
Because it requires the confirmation of the commission on appointments.
That's right,
just like secretary, cabinet posts. So,
thinking that I would be very disappointed when actually I was very happy that I was not confirmed.
Okay. Who was the Senate President at that time?
Enrile.
Okay.
Yeah, Ponce Enrile.
So it seems
and
like
he never liked me.
So there seems to have been a bit of a loophole in terms of you only have impeachment as a way for removing Comelec commissioners, but if they're not yet confirmed, then you can also find a way to take out someone that was appointed.
So I was never confirmed.
But in terms of membership, usually when you have the seven commissioners with a fixed term of 7 years, has there ever been a concentration of commissioners that were appointed by the same president serving, so that, more or less, when it's time for the next elections, their next candidate could have a favorable treatment?
Well, usually, or what is sort of expected, is that 2 of the commissioners would be appointed in February, every 2. So one president can be the appointing, a president may be the appointing authority for majority of the commissioners, because he has a 6-year term. Yeah. So pwede.
And you mentioned earlier that you would prefer a hybrid system.
Yeah.
But in terms of having that really executed, don't you think that's tricky? I mean, how can you prevent some of the common cheating problems in the past? Like before, when it was still manual voting, there would be a switching of the ballot boxes. And that was addressed by automated voting, wherein you're holding your own ballot and you're feeding them directly into the machine.
Yeah. But you never see them counted. You don't witness how your ballot, how your vote was counted. And that's what I don't like about that when automation includes voting and counting at the precinct level. Because you don't see anything. As in the last elections, if you agree with the results, that's fine. But if you don't agree, then you would think maybe they rigged the elections.
But in 2016, when there was a case filed at the level of the Vice President Bongbong Marcos, who was defeated, filed a case against Vice President Leni Robredo. And one of the processes included opening up the ballots that were fed into the machines and then verifying them as against the total number of votes. And it reached all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they confirmed, I think by unanimous decision of the Supreme Court, that there was no cheating. So
no cheating.
In that sense, you can verify if there was an inaccurate counting, if the ballots were not properly counted.
Yeah, that's why one of the things that I remember one politician talking to me and saying, but Gus, you know, I myself saw in the precinct that I was being cheated. And I said, is it that an advantage? You saw that you were being cheated, then you can file a protest. Today, with a complete automation from beginning to end, can you protest? You don't know. You don't see the counting. How can you protest? What will be your basis for your protest? That's one of the things that's not good about the current system that we're using.
Well, now the certificate of filing of candidacies has officially started. Do you have any insights to share with us in terms of what we should be expecting as the voters?
Actually, you know, I was with NAMFREL since 1984 until I got until 2007. So I have always been, I have always taken the position that I don't care who's winning as long as they're being counted properly. So, you know, sometimes, you know, we do our operations at Green Hills, LaSalle Green Hills, no? Sometimes I don't even know who's winning. We just wanted to make sure that everything, that all the votes that we receive are being counted and counted properly. We don't care who's winning. It only comes later, after the job is done, that ay, talo pala yung kandidato ko, you know. But during the time that we're doing the processing, we don't care. We just want to do a good job. But
so what's your tip for candidates out there who will be filing their certificate of candidacy so that they can, you know, have some safeguards against cheating?
They should have, well, at this point, there's no, ballots are not yet being filled up. It's just filing of the candidacy. But my suggestion is that you should have watchers to make sure that during the election itself, to make sure that nothing is going, and even if you do see cheating, you can file a protest. Make sure that they carry their cell phone so they can take a photograph of what's going on. It's better now, it's easier now because you can easily take pictures of what's going on. Let me say, talk again about this politician who said, Kitang-kita ko nung dinadaya ako. Sabi ko, so that's an advantage. You can file a protest. But in the automated election, you don't get to see anything. How can you file a protest? You might have been cheated. You don't even know. That's the problem. You don't even know that you're being cheated.
Interesting. But
that's why it's important that at least at the precinct level, it be manual. Then transmission should be electronic. Canvassing should be automated. That would still be very fast. Okay. You're only, instead of 3 hours, it becomes 8 hours longer. It's no problem.
Well, let's see how this system currently will perform in the 2025 elections.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Gus Lagman, for sharing with us all your insights as a former Comelec Commissioner.
You're welcome.
The Philippines is also regarded as a country with the longest election season. While the 2025 midterm elections officially begins today, it has already started months back and will culminate just a week or days before the May 2025 elections. Just like the holidays, the election is a festive event in the Philippines. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for meaningful conversations that would help you form an objective personal opinion. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announces the senatorial slate of the administration coalition for next year's elections. Donald Trump will no longer run in 2028 if he loses to Comelec